I was talking to producers at The View last night. They have some sharp questions for her as well.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
You get this phone call, and I guess you can tell who's calling, and what does he say?
So I'll set the scene for you.
Okay.
I went to work out, and I had on cooking shows, and they were asking me, Auntie, what's that ingredient? What's that ingredient? And the phone rings.
Right.
So I said, Auntie, you'll be right back. And it was the president. And he told me his decision. I'll tell you honestly, one of the first people I called was my pastor. I mean, I needed to talk to God, you know? Meanwhile, I went back into the room where the girls were, and I'm like, go get your father.
Now, he said this morning, you've never called regarding any of the storms Florida has had since you've been vice president until apparently now, and called it political. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, I have called and talked with, in the course of this crisis, this most recent crisis, Democrat and Republican governors. Called, taken the call, answered the call, had a conversation. It's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility and, frankly, callousness.
Yeah.
So lives are literally at stake right now. And the idea that somebody would be playing political games for the sake of himself, but this is so consistent about Donald Trump. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really lacks empathy.
People are saying this could be the closest election in a century.
Yeah.
I personally cannot understand why anyone would vote for him. A lot of it is, I think, he's getting bad people are getting bad information from other channels. But do you have an explanation for this at all?
Well, let me just add to your list. I mean,
Listen, it's only an hour's play.
people are exhausted.
No.
And they're exhausted with the lies. They're exhausted with the selfishness. They're exhausted with the attempt to divide us as Americans. And they're ready to turn the page and chart a new way forward.
Yes.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Will you come back on The View? We'll hold you to it.
Of course I will.
I'm just basking in the light. People keep saying, what are black jobs? Yeah. I vote that we put this woman into that black job.